Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing okay. YouTube says it's been a month since my last upload, which was something of a mistake. Like, that wasn't necessarily intentional. But you might remember, if you've been keeping up with the last couple of videos, that I have something strange and funky going on inside my skull. That is still ongoing. I actually haven't had an in-person appointment since. I've had one neurology video call appointment, which did go well, to be fair, and now I am just trapped waiting for MRI scans. They think I might have a cerebral spinal fluid leak, which is not very fun, but they're not sure. They want to do a spinal MRI and a new brain MRI. I had an MRI in May, but it was without contrast, and now they have to use contrast, so it's a whole thing. I think I'm basically trapped waiting for MRI scans. Everything in the UK is a massive wait at the moment, and I think I'm just trapped in the cogs. It's not ideal, for sure, because they won't do anything until after they have those scans, and they're not even booked yet, so I don't know when they'll be. At the moment, all I can do is lie horizontal, and if I'm not horizontal, I'm throwing up, and I can't function. Basically, I can walk very, very short distances if I'm careful, but I have to spend most of my time lying down. Like, I just can't do it. I've never felt anything like it. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's awful. I wanted to film a video this morning nonetheless, because I'm aware it's been a month and some of you might be like a touch concerned, but also just because otherwise there's so much to catch up on, and I do enjoy talking about my notebooks. Obviously my Filofax especially is one of my biggest coping mechanisms for all of this stuff. It's my hobby and it's like a pastime, and it's also something that is kind of like deeply important to me on a fundamental level. I always maintain my pages even when there's not a lot to say, or even when things are really bad. I look for small good things regardless, or I create moments for myself to enjoy and then I catalogue them here, kind of thing. Otherwise, when you're unwell, every day is just horrors. It's just sleeping and throwing up and nothing and fuzziness and no memories, and you know, if I don't write it down then there's nothing. It's just gone. It's just everything is a black void. So I've been persisting and I wanted to do a flip. I thought we would start at the beginning of October because I can't remember where we left off. My calendar is using my stickers from last year, the digital ones, and I pulled this together in Procreate. Oh, the other thing was that I said last video I might do a Q&A. There weren't too many questions, I don't think. I had a quick look again this morning. Most of them were around very specific themes. So just quickly, I make my pages in Procreate and I type them up. I don't write by hand in my Filofax anymore. I found it a lot easier when I became more unwell last year. I realized that if I worked digitally, I could be typing on my iPad or my phone at 2 in the morning if I was awake, which is a lot easier than having to turn on a lamp and fold yourself in half over a book. It just became more sustainable for me to chip away at things digitally, especially because that's how I work illustration wise anyway, so the shift between activities wasn't so big. If I wanted to quickly make a note in my Filofax, like digitally, I could, and then I could switch back to whatever work I was doing very quickly. It wasn't like I had to put my iPad down and get a notebook and a pen out, or vice versa. It just became a like, I think, better suited to my workflow, and so I do type everything up. I type everything up to size. The pages in my Procreate folder are the exact size of the page, and then I work on them as individual pages. And then I send them to my laptop and I print them from my home printer. I only use a home printer. It's really cheap. It's now 15 years old. I got it in, no, 10 years old. I got it in 2015. And it only cost me £30 when I bought it. It was literally the cheapest one I could find at the time. It's an Epson printer. The model number is XP235, but it's obviously 10 years old. They don't make it anymore. I actually just got it repaired for the second time. My fantastic printer repair guy, who doesn't know how much he means to me, tidied it all up again and gave it a service, and now it's functioning properly again. I buy these loose sheets. I buy these pages from Motem. They haven't had them in stock recently, which is frustrating because I'm running out. But I picked these ones up from Motem and they're just blank pocket size pages. So what I do is just manually feed these through my printer, and then for double-sided printing I have to again manually turn it over and feed it back through myself. My printer doesn't do duplex printing, it's too old for that, it's too lo-fi. But that's how I do it. I just print directly onto the pages and it comes out fine. Yeah, everything is typed up, everything is drawn with the Apple Pencil, and then I just add analog stuff in after if I want to. So that's kind of my process, and that's how I print things. So in regards to printing things like photos, again, it's the same process. I would put the photos in the pages in Procreate first and then print the entire page. And I just use the Motan pages, and then if I'm printing for my commonplace book, I would just use the cheapest printer paper I can find with my printer, and then I don't do anything fancy to the settings. I literally just print them out on the cheapest paper. I normally wait until I have like a whole sheet to print. You can see here I have like a whole page of stuff, so I normally try and wait until I have enough, and then I would print out kind of 2 or 3 sheets, and then I keep them in the back of here in a folder. And that's how I do it. So that's kind of my process. That's, I think, what most people were curious about. I think a lot of people were confused about if I was typing, which I am, and then a lot of people just wanted information about how I print photos and pages. So that's how I do it. Hopefully that makes sense. It's very low-key because I'm not particularly good with technology, and I'm someone who can get very stuck in their ways. Once I have a system and a method that works, I don't really like to change it, especially not in recent years. So I started typing up my pages September last year, and now we're a full year in, and like it just makes too much sense for me to stop. It just really works. I actually don't think I've missed more than a week of note-taking since last September because of it. Like, it just functions. And because I design all my pages myself, whenever I need to adapt something, it's very easy for me to do so. I can just shift a layout, or I can draw up a new diagram, and then I can just, it just works. So that's how I do it. So my calendar, it looks pretty sparse apart from the stickers, but I actually do have a lot more going on. We keep a family calendar in the Apple calendar, like the iPhone calendar, and we're always shifting stuff around, so I don't tend to write it down in here just because it's too chaotic. Normally I just write down whatever I have scheduled at the beginning of the month, and then hope for the best otherwise. I just realized some of these are messed up. I'm missing a whole week up here. It goes from 9 to 17, and then the 31st is next to the 23rd. So actually I do have to fix that, in which case I might fix the calendar. I can't believe I didn't notice that until now. It's like the middle of the month. Okay, moving on. My weekly pages are pretty sparse. I just keep notes about my days. It's just helpful to be able to look back on them when I need to remember when I had certain appointments. This wasn't the first neurology appointment, it was literally on the 1st of October. And then nothing since. I keep an Alistair style, so like bullet journal kind of log of my tasks and things I need to be doing, or like my habits I'm maintaining. I have a section at the top for things I need to buy, to do, and then important stuff. And then my daily pages are pretty plain. I just fill out this every day, or whenever I have stuff to do. So I'll have a quick flip. I got some cool key rings. I think I might have shown those in the last video, maybe. It's the Halloween Skull Panda key rings from Pop Mart. I got really lucky on the day of my neurology appointment. I was in town running errands with my dad before lunch. We went to get some food, basically. And I was really nervous for the appointment because I have not had a particularly good track record with medical stuff or doctors my whole life. And I was really nervous, and I think we must have just caught them after they'd been restocked because it was full, and I decided I would maybe get one to make myself feel better about the appointment. And I got really lucky because I got the little devil character and then I got the ghost, so literally like 10 out of 10 vibes. I have one on my bag and I have one normally kicking around on my desk, and I just like to see them. This one I passed out and I broke a nail. It's actually still very sore. You can kind of see it's a bit scabby around the edges. I passed out and I fell backwards onto my hand, and I felt it pop. I am not 100% sure still if the nail is gonna stay. I've had my acrylics infilled since. I went to them and they had a look at it, and they decided it didn't seem too bad. When they took the polish off, I thought it would be black underneath, and it wasn't. It was just like a slightly darker red than normal. So it looked a lot better than it felt. but when I first fell it bled so much, and it was horrible. Given I've had long nails a long time, that is the worst and kind of like the only big injury I've ever had, which I think is okay. It's kind of a good track record on that respect, but it really hurt. And I took a photo of my little bandaged hand just because, you know, it was part of my week, I guess. It was a big part of the week, to be honest. It was very annoying. And then that weekend I went with some friends to look at some graveyards and other cool spooky places in London. This one is the Crossbones graveyard in London, which is cool. It was actually closed when we went, so I just took a couple of photos through the links and the fence. But I like them. It turned out well and it was a nice day. I haven't really been out since, just on account of my brain trying to kill me, low-key. I've not really been feeling well enough. I did see Luke this weekend. I went to Bath to sit with him because he also is not doing so well. He's also been really struggling with some stuff and he needed the company, and so did I, to be honest. I have this unique thing where I go stir crazy really fast, but then the longer I'm inside I kind of get agoraphobic, so I go from one extreme to the other. And Luke just needed someone to sit with him, I think, for a weekend. So I went to Bath and I swapped sofa basically, because I am officially on bed rest now. That was the outcome of that one appointment, was that I'm now on bed rest. They basically said, like, you're on bed rest until you can get scanned and we can fix you, which is so inconvenient when they don't know when that will be. A little bit surreal, to be honest, because, like, I don't know, I mean, I work from home, but I'm not really working anymore, but, like, what if I had a real job? I don't know. Anyway, this was kind of like my last outing with my friends for October, and it was on the 5th. And then the following week, I rewatched all of the Interview with the Vampire TV show. So good. I actually can't afford to talk about it because I can't stop talking about it. It's my favourite show, and I haven't had a favourite show in a long time. Like, I don't think I have felt this way about TV for I don't know how long. It's on Netflix now, so there's no excuses. If you haven't watched it yet, you really, really, really should. And season 3 is gonna be immense. I can feel it. So that's Interview with the Vampire. I then decided that if I couldn't go out anywhere and I couldn't do any October stuff, maybe I would pick up some spooky perfume samples, just as a way to introduce some spookiness into my bed rest. I figured if I'm gonna be trapped on the sofa, I might as well smell nice, I guess. And you might remember, but in September I had met up with a friend, and she was helping teach me how to identify the top notes and the base notes and stuff, like the perfume notes that I like. And we went and tried a bunch of samples, and I kind of started to work it out. So shout out to her. And then I ordered some samples from Heretic. I wanted to try the Nosferatu one, but I hate to say it, I think it was my least favourite in the samples I chose. I think I have a problem with this specific, when they create the like fake lilac smell. To me, it just smells like crayons. And I was reading on Wikipedia, there's actually, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called, is it the ionines? And it's what they use for the fragrance. And for some people, it just smells very crayony. And I unfortunately think I have that gene, because like I had the same problem with the Glossier You perfume. And when I looked that up, like the week I got these to see if it was the same thing, I think it was similar. It was lilacs and violets, I think, use a similar thing. And I think that might be why. So that kind of sucks. But to me, the Nosferatu perfume, first, it smells like a damp basement, which I thought was really cool. That was the first thing I could smell for like 10 minutes. But then as it dried down, just crayons. Literally just crayons the whole way through. And I was like, oh no. So that is kind of devastating because everyone loves it. Like, it sucks. I did not enjoy Nosferatu. I picked up Poltergeist, Smudge, Cœur Noir, and Midnight Toker, and my favourite scent is frankincense. I think I've talked about this before, but I love the smell of frankincense. Like, I want to smell like a church. Smudge is church. Like, that is a church scent. Like, it literally smells like my childhood church. When I sprayed it, like, the sheer shot of nostalgia, I think, could have killed me. It literally smells like old wood floors and frankincense. Like, it's so stunning. And then I really like Midnight Toker as well, because that's a similar thing. Again, frankincense is like up there, but then it has kind of like a rose underneath, and so it's a bit warmer, a bit sort of like, I don't know, more vampy, if you will. It's a little bit more vampiric. It's so nice. It's a bit more feminine, I suppose. Poltergeist I liked, but that feels more masculine and that's not quite the scent I was looking for. It feels ever so slightly fresher. And then Cœur Noir is like Midnight Toka but without the frankincense. And so I kind of picked a good set of samples. Like my friend taught me well. I had a good set, and I made some notes about them all. And I marked my favourites. So my favourites were Smudge, Cœur Noir and Midnight Toka. Those were the ones I really enjoyed. We'll probably try and get a big bottle of Midnight Toka because that's the one I keep going back to. I carry the sample in my bag, and then I have a couple of them on the desk. But Midnight Toka is the one I keep reaching for. Smells so good to me. Oftentimes I do a little bit of work in the mornings if I can, lying down, and then I move downstairs to the sofa to have a change of scenery. And my routine is kind of like, I'll get ready to go downstairs and I'll spray the perfume on my wrist and then I'll go and lie downstairs and read for a bit and I smell the perfume. And it does make me feel better a little. But I don't know. That was fun. I enjoyed it. It was a good activity, I feel, for bed rest. And I am trying really hard not to let perfume become a special interest because that will be expensive and I don't have time for it. But I did really enjoy making these notes. And it's always nice to find new pages to introduce to my file of facts. I like to think that if I get to a point where I have a few sample pages, I could keep a separate perfume archive, and that would be so satisfying. I have the Midnight Toka sample packaging. I broke it down and cut the ends off. It's a mess on this side, but it's not the end of the world. And the packaging was beautiful. There's like an embossing with a plant. And then I have my September-October to-do list, which you might remember from sometime in September. Here it is. This is one I did it the first time, when I realised I was now actually like categorically on bed rest. I decided I would look at it again and revise it, take some stuff off like pumpkin patch, any kind of like outings I took off, and then I just tried to look for more things I could do at home. I've basically been trying to work out how best to keep it indoors and how to still have a good time. So I revised that and I ticked off the stuff I've been working through, and then the same thing for the memories to collect. So where I had filming for videos before, I now just have for file of facts archive, and so these are things I want to collect for my file of facts specifically, like the perfume notes, photos to take, and then pages basically to make. And that's been working really well. I have another version again this week or last week, and I'm just going to keep printing it while I update it. I think it's nice to see the evolution, and to keep having it to reference. So that's been working nicely. And then I have photos of the perfume. I have this photo of my file of facts with Wednesday. I think this is going to be the thumbnail actually. She's always got her little head tucked in there. I had this little pumpkin cake from M&S. It was really good. I think last year though they did pumpkin spice ones and they were so amazing, and they had cream cheese frosting. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm a sucker for cream cheese frosting. This was not that. It was just a little chocolate cake in the shape of a pumpkin, and I really miss the actual pumpkin flavoured one. But still good and immaculate vibes. Here is just some text about, I think, health stuff. And then I have a blank page. That must be this week. Last week I haven't printed my weekly spread. I had this mood board. I've been maintaining that as well. It's kind of just like an indoor Halloween mood board, with Scooby-Doo. I was kind of just at the beginning of last week knowing that I was going to visit Luke and we were going to do kind of like a Halloween movie couple of days. I was just trying to work out how I wanted things to feel. And I guess because I have aphantasia, having a mood board just really helps me to understand kind of what I'm wanting and feeling. And so I print those fairly often. And then I picked up a couple of new clothes. I got this jumper, so soft. I keep catching it on the table though. But it's great. I love a black and grey stripe. Black and white always feels too harsh on my eyes, but black and grey is kind of the one. This t-shirt that says I'm tired, just because I think that's really funny. Especially, oh my god, I found out the end of last week, that I have to retake my sleep study. So after a full year of like no information from the sleep clinic, no contact, I've been trying to email them and ring them as often as I can, and they just don't pick up. They won't talk to you. They're literally uncontactable. They're awful, truly. I was given a letter, arrived, and it's one paragraph long and it's full of typos. It's a massive run-on sentence, and it just says like, we think you should retake your sleep study because your data is really weird. I'm not sure what they think will change this time around. Kind of a worst case scenario for me, not gonna lie. I had been dreading that, and they haven't booked it either, so it's taken... So I had my first sleep study last December. It was like the 9th of December, so it was the very beginning of December, and it's taken them almost a solid year to decide that they want another sleep study. I've had one appointment since, and they don't talk to you, like they don't update you. There's nothing to be gleaned from it. They told me they would send me a copy of my sleep study results, and they haven't, and every time I email them about it, they just ghost me. Like, I don't even know what the outcome of my last one was because they won't tell me. I don't know any of my information or my data. Like, it's... I don't know. And then, yeah, a full year later, and the only update is that they want a second study, and they haven't even booked it, so I could be looking at a 6-month wait for the next study again. Like, it's... I'm now almost 4 years post-referral, and we're literally, like, nothing has been established. There's no update, there's no support, there's nothing. Like, it's just... it doesn't end. So I thought that I'm Tired t-shirt was funny. And then this one is a long sleeve one with a vampire graphic, which is great. I wore that like all weekend in Bath, the vampire shirt, and it was really nice just to have something spooky. I have been looking for a book of Halloween crosswords, cannot find one for the life of me. I am gutted, to be honest. I did manage to find this one crossword on Google Images, filled that out, and then I printed it. It was a scary movie one, and it took me maybe like 45 minutes to complete, so I think that's pretty good. Some of them I had to think hard for, and I had to work out the spellings. But it was really fun. If you have any leads on Halloween crossword books that aren't American, please let me know. Just because if you're filling out a crossword that's American as a British person, the spellings will trip you up, and that's really frustrating. But this one was a good one. And then I got some new boots, actually, because my kicker boots from the last couple of years fell apart, or are falling apart. The rubber is degrading in them, so when I walk, it like, I get like, there's almost like black sand in my shoe, and it's from the rubber on the inside, like disintegrating, which is appalling. You would really hope shoes would last longer, but in this day and age, I guess, I don't know. So I picked up these ones from Doc Martens, actually, and you might remember that I've had trouble with Docs in the past, but these ones are, I don't know, I think they might be vegan ones, which isn't ideal, not my first choice, just because the longevity doesn't tend to be as good, but they're a softer leather, and they're a bit roomier. They're quite narrow to going down, and then the toe box is really wide. So these ones actually fit me perfectly, and I wore them all weekend, and I haven't had to wear them in, which is either a really good sign or a really bad sign about the quality of them. So I guess we'll see. But my kickers were literally falling apart on my feet, so I was a bit stuck. I really like them though, they're really cool. They have like the laces that crisscross all the way down the toes, and I just think it's a very cool effect. And then I have some more stuff about the sleep clinic, I guess. I have this page, which was the plan for my brother and I to watch films together. I wrote down everything we wanted to try and watch, and then our kind of like loose plans for the weekend. And I used the Scooby-Doo picture because I really wanted to watch something Scooby-Doo. And again, it just helps me to have that to reference. And then these are my notes from the weekend. So I went on Friday morning and I was there for lunchtime, and then I came back Sunday evening. On Friday we went for a short walk. My brother had worked out a good route that was not too long, not too far from home, but just something to kind of get me outside for a few. Took a nice photo of the weir with the autumn leaves. We had some pumpkin spice hot chocolate. We watched the Scooby-Doo project, which is like the Blair Witch Project, but Scooby-Doo. I had actually never seen it before, which I know is crazy, but I just didn't know. I just didn't know that was a thing. I had seen photos, but I thought they were like, someone had made them. I thought they were like fan art. We watched it and it was so funny. I'm a really big fan. So I printed that because it felt like a very important moment for me. And then in Bath, we managed to find one house decorated. Bath doesn't really do Halloween, which is interesting because they do literally every other festival in existence. They even celebrate like Earth Day and Ocean Day, like Ocean Preservation Day. They'll decorate like the town centre, but like God forbid Halloween. But one house was really carrying it. So I took a photo of that because the window was lovely. And they had this witch on the other side as well, which was cute. So basically on Friday we went for a short walk and we bought some groceries and then we watched movies. On the first night we watched The Corpse Bride, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, the Scooby-Doo Project, and then I think we went to sleep. And then on the Saturday we watched, let me find that, I wrote them down. So on the Saturday we watched Scooby-Doo Zombie Island, and then we watched Black Phone and Five Nights at Freddy's. And I have some scraps in here from that weekend. This one is part of a cinema leaflet. I think I had one intact. I don't know whether. I just thought it was fun. And then we saw The Black Phone 2 in the evening. That was why we watched it. I really like The Black Phone, but Luke hadn't seen it, but I really wanted to see it in the cinema. So he watched the first one and he thought it was really good. So that was great. And then the second one was great. It was so good. I thought it was pretty fantastic for a sequel, like kind of the best you could hope for, really. It had a really good ending and stuff. Like it was, I really enjoyed it. I put the photo of the film on the back. I managed to find a nice poster. And then on the Sunday we just watched films again. So we watched the first episode of Into the Vampire, and then we went to an art market. Just a little one. It was a short walk away. And I wasn't really sure I was feeling it, but then we went anyway. And we managed to find these pylon patches, which like does make it kind of feel like it was fate that I was supposed to be there. It was monster themed. It was a monster market, and so there was a lot of really weird monster stuff. But these pylon patches, I'm probably going to put them on one of my jackets or a sweatshirt. I just think they're phenomenal. How good. And then from the same artist, when I was leaving, I spotted this art print. And I was like, oh god, I have to get that too, because like it's literally like, it's very Undermoss coded, first of all. But like the magic pylon with like the pentagram in the middle. And like the labeling, and then it's so cool. It's so cool. This is the artist. I'll put the link in the description. To his big cartel shop. He was really nice. And how stunning. I think it was fate. I felt kind of awful the whole day. I felt really unwell, but maybe worth it for the really cool art print of a pylon. Oh, one of the questions that I did get was, what is the pylon check? And the pylon check is back from when I was making kind of like studio vlogs, and when I would walk with Wednesday on an evening, I would go through the meadows and there's a big pylon there, and every time I did it I would film the pylon. And I think that's kind of the extent of it, was just like, it was just checking in on the pylon, and that became kind of like a joke, I guess, or an inside joke, or like a niche reference, was just checking the pylon. And now that I don't go out as much and I'm not really very well and I don't walk so far, I don't really do it anymore. But I love a pylon. I really love a pylon. And it became kind of like, I don't know, something bigger that a lot of people now do. And that's the pylon check. So anyway, we went to the art market and then we came back. Oh no, we went up to the pasta place that was really good. It was called Selena. It just opened in Bath, and we had some great pasta, and we had tiramisu afterwards, and it was really good. And then we went back. We watched the second episode of Into the Vampire because I'm trying to get Luke into it. And I think it is working. He said he liked it, so I think we're gonna have him. I think we've got it, like, cracked it. And then I travelled home after that. And then I slept all day yesterday. And that's the extent of it. That was my weekend in Bath. I will be paying for it this week for sure. A part of me is like, don't know that that was the wisest choice, but I'm grateful to have been outside just for a couple of days. Also because I get really bored of being on our sofa. I get really tired basically of looking at the same walls. So to have been able to look outside at some greenery and stuff for a couple of days was very welcome. Yeah, especially like it's so beautiful. Bath in the autumn is honestly stunning. I feel bad for people who go in the summer, because when it's all like golden and orange and brown and red, like it's so pretty. And on Sunday morning it was really foggy as well. And it was just a little bit otherworldly, to be honest. So I'm glad I went. But that is what I have going on. Not a lot, to be honest. But it's always nice to find new ways to use my Filofax, and to see how it evolves week to week. I really enjoy pocket size. I think the only thing that I'm having trouble with is adjusting to like how to add the ephemera in because it's such a small space. Like the cinema ticket was too big, so I ended up having to fold it. Like it doesn't even fit kind of, it would fit like this, but you'd have to punch over the words and I don't like that. So I did it sideways, but then even the barcode was too big to fit. And I photocopy those to preserve them because otherwise they fade. So it's to size. And like I just, sometimes I'm not sure, but then this did turn out nicely in the end. I like this little bit of layering. So I think it's fine, it's just the adjustment. And then like I have other stuff in here that fits fine, like these ones are all okay. So I think it's fine. I mean, ultimately I'll persevere with it because I really enjoy how pocketable Pocket is, obviously. I like that it's small and it feels, I don't know, this is going to sound really silly, but it almost feels like a sacred object to me. Like when I carry my little pocket Filofax, it's just small enough and just big enough that it feels like a special item. It does feel like a sacred object of some kind. I actually picked up some gold rings because I swapped into the Moterm, I forgot to say, but I did pick up the Moterm in the end just because I really needed the 30mm rings. I ran out of space and I didn't want to take anything out. So I picked up some gold rings and I'm gonna probably... Oh no, these are different though. Does it work the same? I don't think I have any gold screws. I just realised. I'll have a look. They were sold out on the Moterm shop, so I actually got them from somewhere else, but I just realised that they don't even have screws. The Moterm ones are easy because it comes with everything and you literally just unscrew them and screw the new ones in, but I'll have a look. I did pick up some gold ones so I can think about swapping. In the front I have this little star-shaped paperclip, which I think Kat sent me, and I have a little coffin with a skeleton on there. In the front of here, oh, the pizza place in Bath, that's my favourite pizza place in Bath. I have the business card for that, and then I have a coffee loyalty card, and then I have the books I've been reading as well because I finished my second page of books. So since September, I read The Nightshade God by Hannah Whitten. I read The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. I read Enchantra, which is the second book to Phantasma. I can't read the author's name on here. Maybe, is it Kaylie Smith or something like that? The Cruel Dark by Northwick, that was good. It was 200 pages. It was just a short little gothic one. Kind of predictable, but I am so out of it. I didn't see it coming and I was kind of shook. It was very obvious in retrospect. Especially if you've read a lot of gothic literature, but I am not functioning at capacity, so it caught me off guard. Very fun. And then I read The Poisoner by Ophelia. This one has been absolutely torn to shreds on Goodreads, but I approach vampire fiction with a very open mind. Like, I like them to be a little bit messed up. Like, if they're not killing and maiming, like, what is the point? It's a vampire. I don't need them to be pinnacles of morality. Like, it's vampires. This one is fun because the vampires are based around snakes, and they're venomous in a very specific way, and it's kind of a fun read. If you read the trigger warnings, obviously just make sure you know what you're getting into, but it was quite fun. I had a good time. The dynamic between the two leads, like the vampire and the human who's poisoning people, and they're kind of like hunting each other, and it's like, it's funny, like I had a good time. Haven't printed it yet, but after that I read this other series that with vampires because I wanted more vampires, and it was called, the Eternal Obsession duology or something, and that was maybe a bit more messed up. Again, check the trigger warnings, they're on my Goodreads. I still enjoyed them just because it was 50% weird spice to 50% plot, and the plot side of it was really strong, I felt. And then the second book unravels in a way that is very satisfying by the end, I thought, and that was kind of good. So I read those. Now I'm reading Anathema by Keri, which I think Bronte has recommended to me a bunch of times, so Bronte, if you're watching, I'm finally reading it. It's about like haunted woods, and I don't know more than that yet. I'm only like 100 to 200 pages in. It has like 750 pages, a really long one, but I'm looking forward to that. And then after I read the second Anathema book, I'll read the next book, the final book in the Book of Azrael series. And then after that one, I think I'm going to read The Night and the Moth, or The Moth and the Night. The one by Rachel Gillig. I want to read that next, and then after that one I'm gonna read Holly, which is I think the final book. It's a Christmas novella. It's like a Christmas special in the Belladonna series. You might remember that I really enjoyed those when I read them, so I'm going to read that one, but I want to wait until like November, December time. So that is kind of my plan book-wise, especially now that I can't do much else. I can read a bit. I'm getting through books quite quickly actually at the moment because of the bed rest. I can't quite hold up my iPad and lay flat enough to draw, which sucks because if nothing else, it's taken my biggest coping mechanism away from me, which is obviously under moss. It just sucks because, you know, I created it as kind of like a soothing distraction, and then it became something so much bigger and it became really cool, and now I have a very clear direction for it, at least for the first book, and I'm like almost caught back up with the size change, and then I got sicker somehow. And it took that from me, which like, it really sucks. I'm still working, it's just very, very, very slow, because the screen time is making me nauseous and I can't stay flat enough to work while lying down. So that's annoying. But I am managing to read. It's a bit easier because it's less to hold. Less concentration as well. But that is everything going on. Hopefully it wasn't too depressing, sorry. Sometimes I'm not sure because I want to be able to be honest and talk about stuff. I know a lot of you guys also are dealing with things, and it can be nice to know that you're not alone. Same for me. And that's the updates. But I appreciate that it's not very exciting, especially because I'm meant to be powerful in October and I'm not feeling very powerful. I am seeing Constantine in the cinema this week, which is probably like the highlight of my life, to be honest with you. Like that might single-handedly rescue me this year, like through all of the absolute, almost swore, absolute horrors. At least Constantine is getting its 25th anniversary re-release in the cinema, and my friend thankfully tipped me off because I had not realised. And I managed to get tickets, and I will be seeing that on Wednesday, which will be thrilling. Constantine 2005, for real, getting me through things. Okay, I think that's everything this week. We can have a quick flip of my commonplace actually. I don't want to show it in detail maybe until it's finished, but I have some stuff going on in here. I have it broken down into sections for the months, and it's filling out nicely. I have some bits for under moss. I have some bits for health stuff. Mostly I come in here to rant after appointments. I have a junk journal section with stuff stuck in. I have stuff about saints and shrines, and I have stuff about ghosts and hauntings, angels and technology. I have a section for notebooks, which is probably my most full section. And this system is really working for me, so that's how I've been using it. It's been fun. I think I might have cracked that, so long as I don't get too in my head. That is everything I have going on, I think. Oh, the last thing, sorry. I did go to Meticulous Ink in Bath, which is a really small stationery and letterpress shop. I got these beautiful pink sticky notes. So to my friends who send me letters, you might be seeing these. I think they're so nice. And then I also got these little star stickers, just really tiny ones. I thought they were very, very cute and I like the colours. And then I got this ghost. It's one of those ones where like the layer is separate and you have to decorate the room, and it will fit in my file effects. Look at that, perfect. So maybe I might try and make a video doing that depending how I feel. It's just hard to be sitting up for so long, but I might give it a go. I thought it was so, so cute. Yeah, I just wanted to show you the ghosts. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.